Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So I have a couple questions for you and I want you to answer yes or no. So let's begin. Number one, I often feel compelled to learn the personal habits of Elon Musk. Answer yes or no. Number two, I'm inspired every day from the words of Elon Musk. Again, answer yes or no. Number three, I am obsessed by details of Elon Musk's life. Again, answer yes or no. And number four, if I were lucky enough to meet Elon Musk and he asked me to do something illegal as a favor, I would probably do it. Again, answer yes or no. So you can let me know in the comments what you thought about these questions and what did you answer yes or no. And this is actually a complicated, deep discussion I want to have with you about Elon Musk, Tesla, YouTube, and kind of our culture that we're living in right now. You may not know I'm pushing 50, so some of these things that the young kids are doing and saying is kind of foreign to me, but this is how the culture is today. I noticed this a month ago and I mentioned it before in a video and I was like, what the heck is this stuff? But this is what people are watching. Look at the title of this video. This is over on Farzad's channel. He is a Tesla pumper and he made this video. It says, Elon Musk being a genius for 10 minutes. And I watched a couple minutes and I'm like, what the heck is this nonsense? And so what Farzad does all the time, or Farzad, I think his name is, he compiles a bunch of quotes of Musk and stuff like that. And people eat this stuff up, right? Literally, people obsess about Musk's life, things that he says, and then basically treat him like a god/deity. And essentially, he's the leader of the cult. And then these sort of YouTubers are disciples. Moreover, this is the stuff that they talk about over on the channel. You know, one guy, Kevin, he's saying, hey, question, when is Tesla become as valuable as Apple and Aramco combined? Does the government hate ratchet up the more to level extreme? The basic gist of it is that people actually believe that Elon's a god, and then they think he's going to build Tesla into being the biggest company in the world, 2x Apple, basically, is what we're talking about here. and I laugh because people actually believe it. And whenever I chat with my wife about this stuff, she's like, it's like trying to convince someone that God doesn't exist, or the opposite, trying to convince someone that God does exist, right? You're essentially dealing with religion and beliefs here. Now, as it turns out, and this is going to be a little bit mean, but I just want to tell you the truth in this stuff. As it turns out, I'll read the headline together here. People who are obsessed with celebrities may be less intelligent, study suggests. This came out last year, actually January 2022, but yeah, roughly a year ago. And it was a study in Hungary. It was actually really interesting. And, one of the sort of examples that was given is, you can read the headline, this one, Britney Spears superfan racks up $137,000 of merch for it's a he, Britney room. And, think about this. The people out there who are, saying, oh, yes. And I saw this on Twitter yesterday because people were posting these kind of things saying, oh, I'm buying more Tesla stock. I'm buying more. All the people who hate Musk are just a bunch of fools, etc. Now, you don't know if these are real accounts. I want to be clear on that. Part of social media, you don't know what's real. However, what is very real, there definitely is some sort of obsession, celebrity, how can I say, fantasies or celebrity worship, celebrity kind of idolism, how you want to call it. It is definitely prevalent on social media because all these days, and this is something that we talked about when if you guys have followed the whole Twitter fiasco, when the numbers and the data started coming out of it, we realized that only 1% of the accounts over at Twitter drive like 99% of the traffic, meaning that the only reason you go to Twitter is just to follow what your favorite celebrity is saying. and that's basically all that it is. And that's sort of, in my personal opinion, because I don't really do this stuff, but a lot of people do. I am not the majority at all. The majority of people follow their favorite celebrities and then they troll each other about, whose celebrity is better. And and so when you see these kind of headlines, it doesn't shock me. I'm not, and like I said, it sounds a little bit mean, but I want you to really think deeply about this stuff. And one of the things that why, celebrity obsession is so bad, and it's not just Musk. You could talk about someone who's, greatly obsessed with professional sports players, someone who's greatly obsessed with, singers, these kind of things. So when I was a kid, it was all Michael Jackson, and people were out, buying Michael Jackson clothes, the red jacket, the one from the Thriller, you guys know what I'm talking about. Moreover, people kill each other back when I was a kid, it was back in the 80s, over starter jackets. These would be the MLB sports things or fight over Jordans. This was a thing. People get crazed about these kind of things. And it is unhealthy. There's no other way to put it. Because part of the problem is when your idols are like these fantastical people, and the things that you sort of place on them is not even real. You are less focused on your life and more focused on someone else's life. I got the questions actually from the Hungarian study. I changed the words to Musk, but it was basically the same. They asked people, there was different questions, and they said, "Hey, I often feel compelled to learn the personal habits of my favorite celebrity. I am obsessed by details of my favorite celebrity's life. If I were lucky enough to meet my favorite celebrity," he or she asked me to do something illegal as a favor, I would probably do it. And the basic idea was like, how far would you follow your favorite celebrity? And I use Elon Musk as an example here. Part of what happens with people too is they get tunnel visioned. And I want to read through some comments that was just a few hours ago. You guys can see this here, and I want to give you an example of tunnel vision. So one person says here, this is from Man Soso. They say, investing in Tesla is such a risk at this price. It's a shame to see what Elon has become. What money does to people is insane. I'll wait for $80. So this person is basically saying, Elon Musk is interested in money and he's really changed this kind of things, and so be it. Mujin then says, what insane people do to get and with money. Now, here's the thing I want to talk about, the tunnel vision thing. So this person says, haha, butthurt, low IQ, totalitarian, leftist coping. And then the other person, and then the same person says, okay, insane retards like you who doesn't understand the simplest thing. Butthurt sheep stay out of stocks. It's for logical people. And I laugh because it's very tunnel vision here. So when I read the first comment, where does it say anything about being like how is this person leftist by any stretch? Are we talking about politics at all in this first thing, where the person says investing in Tesla is such a big risk at this price? It's such a shame to see what Elon has become. What money does to people is insane. I'll wait for $80. Like, I don't, and maybe maybe from the other person's point of view is, we should all obsess with money, and Elon's a hero because he likes money. I don't know, but the point I'm trying to make is that for some people, they only see things through like a tunnel vision, and everything is either left or right for some people. For example, on the channel, there's always people who are talking about, DEI, woke stuff and stuff like that. And that's the solution for every problem in the world is if you solve that one thing. And I always laugh at that kind of stuff because, again, it's tunnel vision, meaning that you're trying to compact complex problems in the world into just a couple of simple things because it makes it more simple for you to digest, for you to understand, and for you to have any kind of argument with people. So in this person's point of view, the D9W, if anyone ever disagrees, you just call them a leftist because it just makes it more simple. Well, if people disagree with me, they must be a different political ideology. One of the things that I challenge you to do well in this world is to live in reality and literally just take things as they come, opposed to making any sort of assumptions. This person in the first comment is saying, hey, investing in Tesla is risky at this price. When I read something like that, it's not really left or right. It's more like numbers. Expensive or not expensive, right? According to the Tesla's profits, is it too expensive of a stock? But what happens is that because some people get so obsessed, with Elon or whatever celebrity they like, any sort of negative, they think the other person's just some sort of hater, and they can't process like the more complexities of the world. I know I'm being a little bit mean this time, but I just want to chat with you guys about this because I think there's some really interesting things that I was thinking about today. Moreover, I want to encourage you to check out my book if you haven't already. The reason why I always mention this thing is because I dig into this stuff, and really the book is there for you. There's a ton of questions in there. I actually get emails of people who are reading the book and say they really like it. And it takes time to read through this because it is designed for you to help yourself. If you want real change, read. I'm really serious here because when you read a book, it's about digesting the words and putting it into like your mind to really seep in and absorb. One of the things that, for example, and I know there's a lot of smart people who watch this channel, I really know, and I appreciate your comments all the time, but unfortunately my smartest videos are the least popular. Like I have to make dumb videos, otherwise like my channel doesn't really go anywhere, and I'm just sharing the truth with you guys. So that's why I mix stuff around. But for example, I was telling my wife about this yesterday. I did a video on The Richest Man in Babylon book, which is a fantastic book, by the way. And it's I can't remember what year it was written. We'll just say turn of the century of 1900, something like that. And basically, it uses all these old examples of money, but they still apply today. Like for example, if you get 10 pieces of gold, save 2 pieces, give 3 pieces to your family, use 2 pieces to pay off your debt, etc. And it's funny because like you're talking about, pieces of gold, but the concepts are the same today. Or like if your neighbor, buys a dress, you don't feel like you have to buy a dress too. And it doesn't matter what year you wrote that. Like it can come out the examples are different back then. It'd be like, hey, if your neighbor has a camel, don't think you need to have a camel too, right? You get my point. The thing that was funny, and I remember there was someone who wrote a comment, really smart comment. It was like a month after this video I did on the richest man in Babylon book. And there was a DJ who wrote a comment on my channel, and we know because the name was like DJ, Smith or whatever. And DJ Smith was saying, don't listen to Chris. He's so dumb. You should all buy Cybertrucks, and Cybertrucks are awesome. And someone made a joke is, never trust the DJ from Babylon. If you guys understand, and if you guys read the book, you get the joke. But the thing is that the reason why I'm bringing this up is that unfortunately Charlie Munger passed away recently, and one of the things that he said, if you really want to improve your life, is just constantly be reading. I even read the Elon Musk book and shared my thoughts on it on that video, and I encourage you to watch that if you can. The point is that the more you expose yourself to the world, hopefully you focus on improving you, right? And getting new experiences, because it'll drastically change your life, and you'll realize that the world is massive. I'll give you an example. This was actually, I want to say this is like 5 or 6 years ago already. It was a while ago already. I went to Amazon. It was like a special meeting, which was pretty cool. And they gave us at the time was NDA'd. It's a long time ago already. But we had to sign NDAs because they were showing us their AI projects. This was a long time ago already. And what they were doing with cameras and stuff like that. And so basically, they showed these examples of like the AI could look at facial expressions in people's houses and look at sort of the action of what people are doing. Essentially, Amazon's gonna be spying on you all the time. No joke. And they would determine like what activity you're doing and the emotions that you're feeling. It was really quite interesting. Moreover, I want to show you just another example is there's a picture of my wife and I in Paris, and we had a great picnic there, and I highly recommend it if you've never gone. But both of these experiences, the reason I'm putting two different experiences together is the more you get out into the world, it really changes the way you see things. And going back to, what does this have to do with the Elon Musk and obsession thing? I mention this all the time, but I know for many people it doesn't make any sense to them because they don't have that experience. But I was saying Musk is about my age. We went to the same school, University of Pennsylvania, and we know a lot of the same people. Now, I mention that is because Musk is not a god to me, because I kind of know how these people behave. It's not like he's like some mythical person on TV. And I understand, like for many people who've never had these experiences, that's why I mentioned that, never been to Amazon headquarters, never been to another country, stuff like that. It all just seems like fantasy and things. And I go back to my books. I try to explain so many times, and I know you don't, if you haven't read it or you don't know me that well, haven't watched the channel that much. I came from nothing. I mean, I grew up really poor. And I understand like what it means to have a very, very small world. And I also know what it means to like not want to be in that world. Most of I would say most, that's a bad word. About 30% of the kids in my high school dropped out. I'm even a high school dropout, and I've mentioned that before on this channel. Ultimately, yes, I did go to college, but because it wasn't that I was stupid or anything. It's just that my high school was terrible. And moreover, the kids I went to school with, they get jobs working at Verizon. That was the thing. Like you're going to be the call center, you're going to sell phones, right? It's not a very good job. And, on weekends, the kids would like hang out at the gas stations for fun. Like that's what people do. And so I'm well aware of the kind of world that exists for many Americans. I really know. You hang out at the strip mall meaning not this place where people take their clothes off, but where the 7-Eleven is, and there's like a nail store and there's a grocery store, etc. And they just hang out at the street and just like talk to your friends because there's nothing to do around there. That's the reality that I grew up in. Now, I guess these days people have replaced that, and now they just sit at home and watch OnlyFans all day or watch YouTube or whatever. And it's interesting because I think what's sad is instead of focusing on improving, your own life and expanding your world, you just like focus on the world of celebrities and Elon Musk and these kind of things. I'll give you another example. And this was a study, and I know I'm getting kind of deep here, but this is why I encourage you to read books because it's complicated topics. There was an interesting thing that came out in the Atlantic today. And it was based on a study by the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. And the basic gist of it is that they discovered there's like 14 billion videos on YouTube, like really a lot. And it was very similar to Twitter, is that the vast majority of the traffic on YouTube was like, I think they said 96% of the traffic on YouTube is from videos that are over 10,000 views. And that basically only makes up 4% of YouTube. So 4% of YouTube drives most of the traffic, meaning that, YouTube is sort of driving you to the big celebrity channels and things like that. And if you guys see my channels, I don't get 10,000 every video. And I guess that's the magic number, maybe, according to the people over at UMass Amherst. The thing that I think is interesting about this is it shows how people get kind of into these tunnel vision things. And so I understand like why the Farzad guy, makes videos about like Elon Musk being a genius, watch him be a genius for 10 minutes. I get that. And that's part of something I discovered on YouTube, and I talk about quite a bit, is that you have to make low intelligence content if you want to be popular on this platform. And I know I say it to be mean, and most people who watch at this point in the video, we're probably maybe 15 minutes into this video, you'll understand what I'm talking about, right? So we've already lost the low intelligence people long ago. They tune out about 2 minutes into any video because they can't concentrate. I know I'm being really mean, but I'm telling you the truth of how the world works. And this is also something which is really quite interesting about this world is, if you read the headlines every day, which I like to go through with you guys, you can read some of these Tesla investors seeing there's no floor after losing 200 billion. Right? Like, so people do get sad and they just think the world's going to fall out, et cetera. And then the pumpers try to come in and tell you all the good news. And moreover, what happens is that they have to create this alternate reality and keep people living in the tunnel, keep people living in the bubble in order to sort of keep the culture and the cult going. What's fascinating is that I try my best to show you guys everything, to expose your world to everything. I'll give you examples. So today, I promise none of the pumpers will mention this one. This is interesting. Musk, SpaceX sued for negligence in accident that led to workers' coma. And so this is how the people are going to spin it. If you're a pumper, you're like, oh, well, people over at SpaceX, they just fall in the comas on purpose because it's just the mainstream media that wants to attack Musk. It's like, okay, I'm sure they'll spin it in some sort of way like that. It's so ridiculous. Or moreover, here's another one, Tesla recalls 200,000 vehicles, etc. And these kind of things are like what's interesting in the U.S. headlines. And so then the medias have to cover it because that's sort of what fans want. They're obsessed with their celebrities and their big brands, etc. And their world becomes really small, right? And so it is certainly true that media in the USA is a certain way, but you could talk about any particular country. They only focus on certain things. Why? Because it's what's popular, right? The average person is low intelligence and they want to follow the celebrity things, and it's too much and too difficult for them to track multiple things at the same time. It just simply is. Like, that's why news organizations follow particular stories and they keep doing follow-ups, because people, get hooked on said story. So right now we're hooked on the how far down is Tesla going to go, and that'll be the next story for the next 2 months, right? It makes it easy. What happens is when you get focused and on just a few things, obsessed with your celebrity and tunnel vision, you miss out on some really interesting news. Like I'll read you this one, which you probably never heard. Read the headline. Just came out January 26th, so just recently. Actually, just yesterday. Hyundai, Kia outperformed Benz, BMW in record earnings, right? You probably didn't know that. And this is what I want to show you. It's interesting. This has been the news here in Korea. It was actually big news. This is talking about operating margins, and Hyundai, Kia, so they're kind of joined there. Was at 10.2%, beating Tesla and Volkswagen, and also comparable to Toyota. And this is a pretty big deal here because, how can I say, it shows that, and if you live here in Korea, is a physically small country, right? And population-wise, it was like 50 million, something like that. So U.S. has 300 million or 350, something in that range. So U.S. is like 6-7 times bigger than Korea. So for a country like here, and you may not know this, I'm not even Korean, I just live here. It's a big deal, right? You can compete with the big companies, etc. And not only that, maybe even excel. So this is something I just want to point out to you, that just because you don't know about something, or just because you've never heard it before, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'll give you another example of what I consider to be tunnel vision. And you can make the case that maybe that Netflix made the right decision. I don't know. I wonder. This is a headline just came out just a couple days ago. Netflix has streamed WWE's Raw in $5 billion deal. And this is professional wrestling. And I was, and also too, I don't necessarily have tunnel vision in the sense that I don't think it's impossible that Netflix can make money on this stuff. I read the arguments for why would you want to put professional wrestling on Netflix. It's essentially, they're making a bet that live streaming is the way for them to grow. They can have more advertising on the platform, etc. And that the fans of professional wrestling, they really are passionate about their particular sport. So I guess other sports, say NBA, Major League Baseball, whatever, when a fan, watches the NBA game, they may only subscribe to your service to watch that game in the championship, and then they're going to unsubscribe. Whereas I guess WWE people, they, have their favorite celebrity or whatever that they follow, and then they want to keep subscribed the whole time and keep up with the storyline. And that's something this is a true story. You may or may not know this. WWE's actually has writers on staff. If you watch it enough, you'd probably get a sense that there has to be some sort of scripts, right? So they have writers on staff, and they create storylines every season for this stuff. And, they do a good job of getting people hooked. So, we'll see if it pays off for Netflix. I think it's kind of expensive, though, $5 billion. The reason why I mentioned that is talking about, Korean stuff over here. They also committed $2.5 billion to Korean content. And this is after the massive success of Squid Game. The reason why I'm bringing this up is that Squid Game was really, really cheap to make. Really, really cheap. The whole season of Squid Game, the whole season, is basically the same cost as one episode of Stranger Things, and Squid Game outperformed Stranger Things. So just from a numbers perspective, if I'm Netflix, I'd be thinking about, okay, how can I make more contents like Squid Game? So I would be investing more heavily in that. So I was I thought that was kind of peculiar that they went with the WWE thing, but if the numbers shake out and it works out for them, so be it, and I'm just talking about the things you focus on, the things that you don't focus on. So anyway, I know I talked a lot about this episode. This would be probably hard for a lot of people to follow, but I try my best to give you real content and things that you won't necessarily hear everywhere else. So love to hear your thoughts on this thing, and you can tell me the answers to these questions of whether or not, if you're lucky enough to meet Elon Musk and he asks you to do something illegal as a favor, would you do it? Yes or no? Thanks again for your time, everyone, and I'll catch you next video.